We did it, MAGA! We made America great again! Except for this.
Starting today, goods shipped to the U.S. under $800 will now be hit with a 35% tariff.
All of these countries are suspending virtually all their packages being shipped to the United States.
As of today, there are 33 countries that have announced that they have suspended their shipments to the United States.
Hi guys, welcome and welcome back to the channel. So DHL and Postal services around the world are pending shipment into the United States. That means packages, letters and deliveries that people are waiting for are now stuck. From small businesses to families waiting for essentials, this move is about to cause major headache. So let's go break down what is happening, why it is happening, and how it could affect you. But first, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop your thoughts in the comment section. Let's go find out.
Who pays the tariffs?
The Chinese government pays the tariff.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
I'm an importer and exporter for 20 years. When a product comes into the US, there's something called a tariff sheet.
Okay.
I, as the buyer of that product, follow US law and pay the tariff. I'm an American citizen, an American taxpayer. I pay that tariff to the US government, and that increase in the cost I then sell to you for a higher price because I've got to cover that tariff.
Then what about,
there is
then
no,
what do you say our tariffs are higher when they go overseas as opposed to theirs coming here?
Tariffs are never a zero-sum game. Tariffs are a tool. For example, you might say, you want to sell us your beans.
Yeah.
We are going to give you a low tariff if you buy our corn. But the cost of the tariff is ultimately always borne by the consumer.
Don't you think at the end of the day there may be more competition within the market of the U.S. government?
And you're confusing the question. This is not a question of competition. The point we're discussing is who bears the cost of the tariff.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you if it's good policy for the U.S. government to tax beans and for the Chinese government to tariff corn. But what I can absolutely assure you is that a product that comes into the U.S. is paid for by a U.S. company, and the increased cost of that is borne by all of us. I am an importer and exporter. I do it for a living.
Okay. Then what's the alternative if at one point in our country's history was tariffs that paid for our economy?
Tariffs don't pay for your economy.
But they did. We didn't have income taxes before.
That was before we had municipal infrastructure.
Correct. My understanding is that the tariff is lopsided to benefit other countries as opposed to ours. The suggestion is just to bring it up to make it equal.
That's why you have free trade agreements,
Right.
But it doesn't mean that even within the free trade agreement there are not tariffs. If there's one thing you should take away from this extended conversation is you are always paying the tariff.
You know what? I'm not educated in that. Fair enough.
Yes.
It was a pleasure.
That's good.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Can we talk about how the rest of the world just stopped shipping packages to the United States? I had a friend from Europe send me a small package and it got returned to them, which we found weird at the time, but now the news has come out that basically all of Europe is halting shipping packages to the US. I guess the reason being if it was a small enough package there was an exemption to the tariffs, but that deadline passed, so now that exemption is no longer in place. So basically all small packages like small businesses or gifts or anything like that, the tariffs are now in place for these things. But I think the real problem is nobody knows how to navigate the tariffs. Again, I'm not an expert on this, but from what I understand is that none of the other post offices from around the world know what the heck to do because there isn't like a clear framework. All the while here in the US, we can't get packages from small businesses outside of the US now, or gifts from people like relatives or anything like that. How is this a good thing? Who does this help? I think we're just cut off from the rest of the world now, unless we're buying from a big company. Hopefully it's just temporary and it gets resolved, but this is really weird. Things just feel off. The vibes are off, right? Am I alone in this? It increasingly feels like we're an island in the middle of this continent now, just like cut off from the rest of the world, but not all at once, like just a little bit more and more each day. It's an icky feeling, and I don't like it. This feels like huge news to me, and it feels like no one's really talking about it, so just curious why that is. I mean, isn't this like a huge deal?
Starting today, goods shipped to the U.S. under $800 will now be hit with a 35% tariff. The U.S. is eliminating the exemption, which was in place, allowing packages worth $800 or less to ship to the U.S. without duties. But now, full duties will be collected on all global packages entering the United States. Experts say some Canadian businesses are likely to lose U.S. customers because it's just going to be too expensive. Last year, almost 1.4 billion packages worth more than $64 billion entered America without being charged duties.
So is everyone just going to ignore the fact that all of these countries are suspending virtually all their packages being shipped to the United States? So in short, what's going on is Donald Trump got rid of the de minimis tariff exemption. This has been in place for a long time. In 2016, Barack Obama actually increased the value to $800, meaning that countries around the world could send packages worth up to $800 to the United States tariff-free. And so after Trump got rid of the de minimis exemption, what happened is all the carriers in these countries, all the post offices throughout these countries decided that they would just completely stop shipping any of their packages to the United States, many of the private carriers as well. You could see this is a long list. I mean, you got United Kingdom, Germany, Lithuania, Czech Republic, Bosnia, Greece, Spain. It goes on and on and on. And by the way, Mexico also just announced that they too are suspending shipments to the United States. I don't know, it just seems like this deserves a whole lot more attention. We're going to keep following what happens here and all the news, so make sure you're following our account. And remember to listen to the Midas Touch podcast right now on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We've got new updates for you there right now.
So most of the world has decided to stop shipping. They stopped their shipments to the United States, their imports. As of today, there are 33 countries that have announced that they have suspended their shipments to the United States due to the ending of the de minimis, which is a tax exemption, a duties exemption that allowed packages and shipments coming into the United States under the value of $800 to be duty free. That ended today. And before it could officially end, countries around the world had already started announcing that they're not shipping over here anymore. If you think that I'm lying, just head over to USA Today to look at the list of all of the countries that have announced that they are no longer shipping to the United States. All right. And just to give you a little idea, I'm going to read off some of the countries that are on this list: Australia, Austria, Belgium, Bulgaria, Cyprus, Denmark, Estonia, France, Germany, Greece, India, Italy, Japan, and the list goes on. See, the UN's Universal Postal Union, right, which deals with the postal servicing of 192 countries, came out and stated that the changes will entail considerably operational changes for postal operators all around the world. And when the agency, right, was questioned by USA Today, they stated that they couldn't announce the names of these countries that decided that they will be suspending their imports to the United States. But then these countries decided to start announcing it themselves. They just started coming out and telling you guys, yeah, we're not shipping to the United States anymore. This should be bigger news, but for some reason it's not really being broadcasted. And I wonder why, considering that we are all going to feel it. For all of you guys who kept saying that we weren't going to feel any of the effects of what Donald Trump was doing until after the 4 years, we're feeling it now. We're feeling it now. Let me just let you know what we're all about to start experiencing, okay? We're going to be dealing with the increased cost of consumers. Now, I know a lot of people have been saying this from the beginning, but now you're really going to start feeling it. When you walk into those stores and you see that the prices actually jumped considerably, then you're going to start to realize the severity of what everybody was trying to explain to you guys. In addition to that, we're also going to be dealing with the impact on small businesses, okay? Essentially causing a lot of them to shut down. Why? Because the higher costs in operations, or it's going to take to operate their small business, as well as the loss in international consumers, okay? You're also going to have to deal with regulation changes. Now that all of these countries have decided to take a pause in shipping over to the United States, who's to say that they're not going to change how they deal with shipment and how they deal with tariffs? And overall, the trade relations is about to change in a way that a lot of us can't even handle. I'm going to be so honest with you. So yeah, all that talk about we're going to feel it in the 4 years, we're not going to really feel it right now. No. We're feeling it now. We're feeling it now.
Stop. Before you order anything, you need to figure out where it's coming from, because starting tomorrow, the price to get that thing to you is going up. Or you may not get it at all because your order may be canceled. Starting tomorrow, President Trump's plan to fully remove the de minimis exemption for all imports takes effect. And because of that, and because of the confusion around this policy, some European and Asian postal agencies have started to pause or cut off shipments to the United States altogether. So here's what's going on. I reported way back in April that President Trump signed an executive order to eliminate the de minimis exemption. That exemption has been around in some form since the 1930s. Most recently, the law says imports that have a value of less than $800 can be exempt from certain duties, fees, taxes, and tariffs. Why? Well, the logic is if Customs and Border Protection is having to go through your silly little $50 Shein order to try and collect a tariff on that, they're taking time and resources away from monitoring what's coming into this country on those huge cargo ships and included in those huge containers. So for the last decade, the U.S. government has said if the value of the imported package is less than $800, it is not worth our time. Just let that package go to whoever ordered it. And we all know, because of this de minimis exemption, lots of small businesses and everyday Americans have been able to benefit by getting cheaper products from overseas. The president removed the de minimis exemption from imports coming into this country from China and Hong Kong back in May. And by June, Customs and Border Protection was adding a tariff of either 120% of the declared value of those imports or a flat fee of $200 per item. Well, as of tomorrow, that is extending to all imports from all countries. Those imports will no longer get the benefit of a de minimis exemption. They will all face charges that range anywhere from 10 to 50% of the item's declared value, or for the next 6 months, a flat fee of between $80 and $200 per parcel. According to Post Europe, its members, including France and Greece, say because of this policy, shipments to the U.S. are going to be disrupted. Mexico, Japan, Australia, Taiwan, Thailand, India, and South Korea have all temporarily suspended shipments to the United States because of this policy. And if you've ordered anything from Etsy or eBay recently, you may see a cancellation notice or a significant delay in your order because of the de minimis exemption going away. Look, as I have reported repeatedly, tariffs are paid for in the end by you and American small businesses. Now that the de minimis exemption is gone for all imports in all countries, that import fee will be paid for by the company that you are ordering it from. It will be up to that company to decide whether that fee is going to be passed down to you, or if they are going to eat the cost of that tariff and cut into their own profit. Some of the bigger American corporations say they can eat some of these fees, but lots of even the big corporations have already announced that they're not going to do that anymore. And when it comes to small businesses that import, it's not as easy for them, especially with their extremely thin margins, to eat these costs, and they have to pass the costs on to you. The last thing you need to understand now that this de minimis exemption is gone for all countries is it doesn't just apply to fully completed items. It also applies to everything that is imported from every country, including parts and components. Those parts and components are used by American businesses and manufacturers to create completed items here in the United States that you buy. Some have the Made in America logo. So this Trump policy has wide-ranging impacts for all of us, even if we're not buying the item from a foreign country.
We did it, MAGA! We made America great again! Except for this. DHL and Postal services around the world are suspending deliveries and shipments to the United States of America. Some of it has already started. Most of it will go into effect by Friday. This is by no means a complete list of countries that are suspending shipments of $800 or less to the U.S. This list is ever growing as the week goes on, but countries like Japan, Australia, Taiwan, UK, India, Thailand, South Korea, New Zealand, and all of Europe have already suspended DHL and Postal shipments to the United States. Why, you may ask? You see, earlier this year, President Bonespur signed another one of his executive orders that suspended the de minimis trade agreement. The de minimis trade agreement allowed shipments coming into the U.S. $800 or less to enter the U.S. duty-free. Because this is going away on Friday, small businesses around the world are now going to be charged an extra $80 to $200 per shipment. Per shipment. It's a tax on small businesses across the world. And those small businesses, they can't afford an extra $80 to $200 just to ship something to the United States. So all these postal services around the world, including DHL, are like, screw it. We're going to suspend it and see what's going on here. Maybe President Bonespur will change his mind like he usually always does. But hey, you know, we're now just with other countries like North Korea and Cuba and every other communist fascist country who limit what is allowed to be shipped into their country. So if you are expecting a package from overseas not ordered through Amazon, and they're coming from one of these countries, you're probably not going to get it this week. Sorry, folks.
So congrats, America. You have officially become that one neighbor that no one wants to deliver to, just because you guys couldn't handle a black woman as president. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And please do not forget to like this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.